What's up, YouTube? So before we get started with this video, on First Take, they're going to be talking about who should the Washington Redskins draft, Alabama's Tua or Ohio State's Chase Young. So let's see what they have to say about that.
Should Washington take Tua with that second overall pick? Obviously, they took Haskins last year, I think, in the teens.
Yep. Yes, they should. And it's not a knock against Haskins. Haskins, looks to me like he could be a good NFL quarterback. But even let's say he makes it there, he's a middle-of-the-pack quarterback. That's got value, by the way. It's not easy to be, a top 20, top 16, whatever it is, quarterback. Tua looks to me like he can be special in a different way. He looks like when people say a left-handed Drew Brees, I agree. He has and he has a deep resume in college. And when you can do that, it's not like, I understand the idea. You already have a quarterback, you believe, now go get Chase Young, who's going to be a special defensive player. Rivera didn't take Haskins.
Yeah, but I would still stick with Dwayne Haskins. He was the number one pick for the Redskins last year for a reason. This will be his second year. Give him a little bit more time to develop. And you can't go wrong with Chase Young. Chase Young is a beast off that defensive line. He's just like Nick Bosa from last year going to the 49ers, and he absolutely killed it. So I can't imagine Chase Young is going to be any different than Nick Bosa. I mean, both of those guys are savages. And as far as Tua's going to be okay. He may not be a top pick like in 1, 2, or 3, but he's going to get picked up, and things might work out well for him because he's not going to go to an absolute trash team. He'll get picked up by a decent team, be able to learn the system, and have a good career. I think hopefully he will. The injuries, I don't quite know, but before his injuries, he was a baller, and he took care of business. But at this point, I would just say for the Redskins situation, I would keep Dwayne Haskins because you picked him number 1 last year for a reason. And I would go with Chase Young because you can't really go wrong with that guy. Because if you take Tua and you have Dwayne Haskins, if Dwayne Haskins pans out, then you have Tua just riding the bench for nothing. You have two of the same positions that you don't really need when you could use the other pick to supplement your defense with Chase Young. So I don't know. Let's continue.
No, he didn't. And even if he did, this draft, people forget already, this draft was supposed to be all about Tua from 2 years ago. You had teams saying, should my team tank for Tua like the year after next a couple of years ago? Now he's available to you and you're going to pass when the...
Yeah, but it's all about what you need at that point in time. That's what the draft's really about, is you start to fill up and stack the pieces on your team or the positions on your team that you need to take care of. And if the Redskins already drafted a quarterback number 1 last year, well, then you probably don't really want to do that this year. It's kind of like double dipping. You want to spread out and stack up on the positions. And again, you cannot go wrong with Chase Young. Chase Young is an absolute beast. What is he? He's like 6'5", 265. Last year he had, 32 tackles, 16.5 sacks. That guy's a monster. I can't see him being any different than Nick Bosa. Those Ohio State boys know how to take care of business off that line, and Chase Young is a monster. So I would go with Chase Young. I would stay with Dwayne Haskins. You bought him number 1. You picked him number 1 last year for a reason. This will be his second year. Give him time to develop. Tua will be just fine. He's going to get drafted a little bit lower than what he wanted, but he's going to go to a halfway decent team and hopefully have a good career with the halfway decent team and move on from there. So let's continue.
It's like you need that quarterback. I think Tua has a chance to be that special. Not a knock against Haskins. I'm drafting Tua.
I love Tua. I think Tua is big time. I think durability has been a question mark and what have you. And I think that the Washington Redskins are so inundated with problems. You've got to go with the sure thing. You simply cannot have a question mark. Chase Young is the closest. He's a sure thing. The Washington Redskins are taking him number 2. All of this is smoke and mirrors from what I've been told. They're not taking a quarterback. Daniel Snyder ain't going to let them take a quarterback. He believes in Haskins. Ron Rivera believes in him. He's going to go that route. They're going to take Chase Young. That's what they're going to do. Now, I met Chase Young. I was at the Lakers-Boston game. He was chilling with Denzel and Mark Wahlberg. So I was over there, rapped him for a few minutes. Massive kid. Incredible physique, all right?
Yeah, so Chase Young, that man is predator type big. I'll say it again. Chase Young is predator type big. So let's continue.
No, he gets after the passer. What do they keep telling us are the 2 most important things in football these days? They say the quarterback and an edge rusher that get at the quarterback. Yep. Who's that dude that gets at the quarterback? I think that would be him. Now, we look at the Redskins. I understand their offense was just horrid. They gave up 6,162 yards. They gave up 435 points. All right? So we know what they need defensively. Offensively, they were the worst offense in football. Okay? Ranked dead last in offense, ranked dead last in their passing attack. The problem is, Tua's a question mark because of, I don't give a damn what kind of medical clearance he got. When you get hit, come talk to me, all right? Because this ain't college, all right? So I'm worried about him in that regard. His health combined with Haskins, I'm like, yo, I need a sure thing. I don't have it. I'm going with the defensive player.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Yeah, so I would go with Chase Young. I mean, just to show what type of impact a guy like Chase Young could have coming off that defensive end. Look what Nick Bosa did last year, and he was a second pick last year out of Ohio State. That guy absolutely helped to flip around the San Francisco 49ers, and it went to Super Bowl and everything that went along with that. I think he got Rookie of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year, or something like that. But that type of let me slow down here. Jesus. Chase Young could have the same type of impact that Nick Bosa had last year. I'm screwing it up. Let's continue.
I think the Redskins, they take Chase Young, and you take Chase Young because to not take Chase Young, the addition of Tua is a subtraction of Chase Young and Dwayne Haskins. And you say, Max, no disrespect to Dwayne Haskins, but saying that he could only be a top 16, top 20 quarterback, that is disrespect. I mean, Dwayne Haskins, he succeeded at the end of the season in spite of doubts from the coaching staff, in spite of doubts from the head coach. Chase Young, beast, we already know that. That's a sure thing, but it's not so much about Chase Young for me as it is about Dwayne Haskins. 50 touchdowns his senior year in college. You want a comprehensive list of all Big Ten quarterbacks? There's no one else that's ever done it. So Dwayne Haskins was a bad man in college. I think he will continue to be a bad man in the NFL with a coach in Ron Rivera who has proven he can develop quarterbacks, i.e. an a la Cam Newton.
He didn't pick Haskins, though.
He didn't pick him, but he picked the Washington Redskins, who already had Haskins, so he knew
likely a high draft choice. I was very high on Haskins coming out for the reasons you outlined, and he got better and better as that Ohio State season, by the way, went on.
Sure.
His learning curve was steep. It's not, you can take it as disrespect, or he can. What I have seen so far, there are some guys you watch them play early, and there have been quarterbacks I'm like, nah, and later on I turned out to be wrong. He doesn't, like Daniel Jones, who the Giants chose, and I was very down on that choice instead of Haskins. I watched him. You watch him play even in the preseason a couple times. You go, okay, your eye immediately sees something. Dak Prescott, it was like that in the preseason when he, as a rookie. I have not seen that from Haskins in the NFL.
That's fair.
But because I believe in him from college, I'm saying I think he can get to be a starting caliber quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, but again, this is only going to be Dwayne Haskins' second year. Let's give him a little bit more time. Not everybody is a Patrick Mahomes or these other guys. So let's continue.
I think can be an elite quarterback in the NFL, and I think it could happen in the first couple of seasons. Because of health, maybe not in the first year, but pretty soon. And if you have that, Acho, forget about everything else. If you have a chance to take an elite why are the Packers every year among Super Bowl favorites, regardless of the rest of the team? They got Aaron Rodgers. Same thing with the Saints. You always like them to be in the mix. They got Drew Brees. If you have
Wait, let me cut off Max there. I'm sorry, but this past year, the Green Bay Packers were back in it and made the playoffs. But the 2 years prior to that, they didn't even make the playoffs. So I don't know if you want to be hyping up Green Bay to the point that they've always been competitors. They're always good, but the past 2 years, other than last year, they didn't make the playoffs. So let's not hype that up.
Guy like that, you got it made. This is not like next man up gets paid the most. This is that guy is special.
But it just doesn't make sense to draft a quarterback when you already have a young, high-ceiling quarterback. Not to mention, like Stephen A. said, Tua's his injury history is worrisome.
Well, you got Haskins.
His injury,
No, it doesn't work that way, man. Like I said, if Dwayne Haskins turns out to be what you want him to be, or even just a little bit of that, and you have Tua, that's going to be a major problem. That's going to be a major problem. And also, like I said, you can't go wrong with Chase Young. And also with Tua, like I said, you don't know with his injuries. You don't know what you're going to get. So if I had to choose between Tua and Chase Young, I'm going to go with Chase Young. You already have a quarterback, Dwayne Haskins. If anything, I could see if this was his fourth or fifth year, okay, Dwayne Haskins, he's not panning out. But this is only going to be his second year. You got to give that man some time to develop. So I'm just saying I would go with Chase Young, and it's not a knock on Tua, but it's just about what the Redskins need at this point. If Dwayne Haskins wasn't there, I would probably pick up Tua if I was the Redskins, but they already have a spot. They already have a spot. So let's continue.
You don't take Tua knowing good and dang well that Chase Young is sitting there. I mean, look at through the last decade, the first and second overall picks of quarterbacks, they've accounted for, I caught 8 of them. They've accounted for about 11 Pro Bowls. Then you look at the 3 defensive ends that have been taken, whether it's Clowney, Von Miller, or Myles Garrett, just those 3 have accounted for 12 Pro Bowls. The only comparison to make there is that defensive end is already a more surefire pick because there are less variables than
And
the
not only
quarterback
that,
position.
the Redskins stink across the board. You got to shore up something. You got to shore up something. And so if I got to sit up there and I have an opportunity to elevate my defense, for example, and certainly there is no comparison here, but look at the conversations that we've had about the Patriots in last season. Their offense was struggling miserably. Their defense
Kept them in it.
was elite and kept them in it. All is not lost because of that damn defense. And the problem with the Redskins is that all